showcase. This is going to be like a game show. Woo! Let's hear it for Innovate Showcase. Let's hear it for design. All right. So we have scoured the globe to find the best entries and most interesting entries. We're going to be showcasing the finalists today. There are 12, count them, 12 finalists that we will be going through here. So we're going to have to move very quickly for each one. All right, we'll be spending just about 3 or 4 minutes to show you about each one. The judges on this panel, who will introduce themselves in a second, have had access to more information than you will see here. So my name is Wes Williams. I'm the lead product person for TV Everywhere at Scripps Networks. I work on the apps and websites for our brands such as Food Network, HGTV, DIY, Cooking Channel, and Travel Channel. Now let's do some quick introductions down the row. We'll start on the end.
I'm John Gillis. I'm director of Code and Theory, which is a digital agency in San Francisco, New York, and now Manila. Some of the things you might have seen that we recently launched were the Comcast Xfinity X2 set-top box that we worked on with Comcast, the new Mashable.com. A couple things in the works right now are the Winter Olympics website for NBC Sports. Lots more coming, so stay tuned.
I'm Dewey Reed, and I lead design at Yahoo for mobile and emerging products for Flickr and connected TV.
Hi.
Oh, you got one.
Look at that, see? Christy Martin, longtime ITV survivor, I think is appropriate, and Chief Technology Advisor for Think Analytics. We do personalized content search and recommendations across content sources and ranging from legacy set-top boxes to mobile and gaming consoles.
My name's Tom Williams. I'm UX Director of Osmodern. We're a digital product design company based in the UK. We do user experience design and build for probably all of the UK broadcasters, so BBC, ITV, and Channel 4, and also a lot of the cable operators, so we do BT and Virgin Media and YouView and people like that. We also work with sports broadcasters and sports brands to try and create products for them.
I'm Bill Shepard, Director of TV and Living Room at Nuance. We are responsible for the Dragon family of voice recognition products. In the TV space, we're embedded in Samsung, LG, Panasonic, DirecTV, and other major service providers and OEMs. In a world of almost unlimited content today, voice is a terrific way to just find what you're looking for and cut through UI complexity. So it can be a very key part of a great user experience.
My name is Chris Kurt. I'm the ITV product manager at Dish Network. I've been there for around 10 years, worked with a number of people in this room, and have had great experiences with all of the apps that we've ever built, helped build some of the first real-time transaction applications for satellite. So that's my background.
I'm Kurt Dowdy. I'm with Audible Magic. We bring content awareness to media networks, apps, and devices with automated content recognition technology. So we sync or ID content anywhere that it's found.
I'm Fabian. I'm director and founder of W12 Studios. We are also a digital product design agency based in London. We focus on the media entertainment space and TV, connected TV experiences in particular.
Great, thank you very much. You can hang on to that. Let's get started. Here's our list of finalists. I know there are some representatives in the room. Do you want to know what you're playing for? Let's show them. Ooh. Nice, huh? Tracy got that. All right. We'll just put that right there for later. Someone at the end of this session is going to walk away with that, unless they're not here, and then we'll ship it. Okay, we could go through these in alphabetical order, but what fun would that be? So instead, let's go to our showcase wheel. There we go, and we're going to see who we will talk about first. Flip TV. Who's here from Flip TV? Stand up. Stand up, let's see. Thank you for coming. All right, Flip TV, based on the information we have here, a media consumption platform with a natural user interface. It's got a TV and tablet remote. You can browse on tablet while the TV screen shows recommendations, and it uses a camera to recognize users and load profiles or add timeline markers. And we've got a little clip of a video. Some of the interests included pretty long videos. We're just going to show some little clips of these.
You're in the room, load a profile for you,
Some show the interface.
Start making discovery a lot easier for you. We can integrate the tablet where now a user can take the tablet and start going through their content more fluidly, more intimately. It's in their hands and it just feels better. And that's why we...
Okay, panel, let's discuss. You've got to look at Flip TV.
I really like what they're doing because of the natural motion in it. I mean, all the transitions seem really comfortable, and nothing's stiff, nothing's mechanical. It's also simple in its kind of format, very visual, and not complicated, not too much text.
You all think users are going to tune into the camera, watching them, helping them? I mean, there's certainly different systems doing that. I hear some people are paranoid. Is it going to catch on?
I think the key challenge there is about how the camera is being introduced to the user, because obviously there's a lot of skepticism having a camera staring at you in the living room for good reasons. I don't know how you guys watch TV, but sometimes you're a bit more relaxed. So I think that's a key user challenge, is actually how do you message that to the user. So I think that's not quite clear.
Okay. All right. Anything particular they're doing good, or you think they should work on?
Yeah, I mean, I think just looking at the actual interface for the presentation of content within the product, I think obviously it solved the tricky problem of identifying people and trying to personalize content quickly. But I think an area that they could work a bit more on was the actual presentation of the content and the content browsing within that. I think at the moment that's still in quite early stages, so it'd be nice to see that pushed a bit further.
All right, let's move on to our next one. Let's go back to our wheel. Who will be next? Showtime, ShowSync experience. Is anyone here from Showtime or representing the ShowSync app? Hey, there we go. Thank you for coming. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
All right, with Showtime, you can interact on the iPad and the smart TV. They've got apps so you can sync content in one screen or two screen experience. Uses automatic content recognition, social networking, so you can have curated user tweets or time-shifted tweets or social media information, loyalty incentives for those who post a lot, and a post-show experience, so after you've watched the live show, you can experience a magazine layout. Let's go to Showtime's.
Bring fans closer to the action. Showtime has created a revolutionary new way to interact on multiple platforms. The ShowSync experience is available on the iPad and in an industry-first, smart TVs. Fans can participate whether they watch live or time-shifted wherever Showtime is available. The second screen experience on the iPad begins automatically, with no user initiation required. The app listens for hundreds of available Showtime episodes using automated content recognition, or ACR. When it recognizes a specific episode, it simply asks the viewer if they wish to join the experience. The same interactivity is available on smart TVs, but is displayed with an elegant in-show overlay for single-screen viewing. By taking advantage of the newest TV technology, there is no app for the user to install. Once an episode begins, the TV's own ACR capability recognizes the program, and viewers can opt in with a single click of their remote. Content is meticulously crafted by Showtime's writers and designers to further immerse fans in their favorite shows. Interactive moments are choreographed to appear at precise times throughout the episode.
Okay, I'm going to pause that there for time. All right, what do you think?
Well, I think this is obviously setting a new standard for the industry. It's very well designed, very well executed, although I may be a bit biased in that.
I'd like to add also, I think the thing that I like about this is that you see a lot of kind of second screen accompaniment type experiences where they treat the content the same every single time, and you get a strip of tweets and a strip of something else and a strip of something else. I think the focus here has been very much on the fact that it's all about the content, and it's all about the editorial treatment of that content and what you put where and how you interact with it, and having a deep understanding of the actual content. I think that puts this really head and shoulders above a lot of other sort of second screen and.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's almost like the native ad phenomena. That it's about the content first, and the navigation should follow. And I think it's also a good example of kind of it takes a village phenomena, that it's not just the content or the UI, it's also the curated content that goes with it. It's the enabling technology behind it with ACR, voice recommendations. You really have to pull all that together to have a full experience.
And in addition to that, also recognizing the fact that people don't always want to interact with the content in the same way at different times within the show. So the fact that it does something different at the end is also makes it work very well with the show formats.
I find two killer features here. One is the first screen experience, and that it launches automatically. So even if people intend to interact, I think there's just a hurdle. People don't remember to launch an app or to otherwise bring it up. So the fact it just finds it and up it pops and it's available is great. And the other is the time-shifted social media aspect. So I watch virtually nothing live, and I don't like the fact that I may be missing out on that other social interaction. So the fact that it's built in that you can watch it at any time and still get the same relative experience, I think is terrific.
The one thing I'd like to add is that this is the only entry that had both a first screen and a second screen experience, which I think is in my mind, is what makes it stand out amongst all the other entries.
I like the fact that the content recognition drives navigation. And so we think about that as actually being part of the navigation itself.
Okay. And I like that it shows one thing at a time. It's really simple. It never really overwhelms the user. I think there's a tendency to always, what I call the Christmas tree effect, to put more and more things in the UI. This is very nice and very selective about what it surfaces at any given moment in time.
No whammies. All right, New Lion TV everywhere. Who's here from New Lion? I hear New Lion in the house. All right, let's take a look at their stuff here. All right, New Line, a platform to meld video, audio, and data into one interface, generally a premium product sold as subscription, pay-per-view, or license, such as Pro Sports. Give users access to HD video, multiple cameras, real-time highlights, DVR functionality. It's got everything in there. Live clips are marked to create instant highlights and then sync with the metadata about what you're watching. We'll see some of that in a second. Published to multiple devices at once and then recommends new content based on user history. So let's go to our UFC demo. Let's see these metadata markers on here. That's so you can skip to the good stuff. If you want to go straight to where the injury occurs, or the good takedown or stuff like that. So if I mouse over here, there's the injury. That's what everybody watches for, right? I mean, who cares when they're like in a bear hug on the ground? Okay, you get the idea. A little buffering there. All right, New Line. Here, start on here. So
sure. I love the idea of being able to get to the good stuff quickly. I don't love the implementation, putting it into the scrubber bar. It's small. It's not so obvious how to get to it and what's there. I think maybe that aspect could be rethought. But in terms of what the app is trying to do, I think it's a terrific combination of capabilities.
I think one thing that we found, we work with ITV in the UK, and they do a lot of football coverage. And once a full-length football show, which is 2.5 hours, something like that, becomes a video-on-demand asset, and it's impenetrable and is just a 2.5 hour long asset with no real indication of where anything interesting happens, it becomes basically a useless thing that sits on their site. So this is an obvious problem that has been solved here, and I think certainly there are formats like daytime content and sport where this works incredibly well. I tend to agree that at the moment the UI here, I mean, there's some buttons along the bottom that allow you to switch view and stuff like that, which is great functionality. But to be honest, I didn't really understand which button did which, and I found it a little bit difficult to interface with. So it's got some good things, it's doing some very good things, but it needs a bit of work on the implementation, I think.
Yeah, now I want to echo that. I think using and activating the timeline. I mean, we did a lot of work at the BBC with the Olympics, so that's really great to do that. I think it gets lost here, and I think also in terms of the overall look and feel, it looks very techy. So I think it only appears probably to one particular user segment. But I think activating the timeline and thinking about whether you do moment marking, also bring commercial consideration, this is an enormously powerful concept.
Maybe the UFC audience is just techy.
Probably.
I mean, I have to agree. I mean, I really think it's a really fun space, but I don't think this was implemented very well. I think it needs more dashboard kind of feeling, make more out of the features, really make it clear what those features do, and just make it more fun. Wes, I think you need to work on that interface.
Obviously, I'm an interface designer, right? I ripped this off from the website. All right, Buddy TV guide. Is anyone here from Buddy TV or Team S? Hey, thank you for joining. All right, let's take a look at Buddy TV. I've got a few graphics to show here, and then a little video. So Buddy TV helps users find TV shows and movies in a theme-based experience. They deliver themes in the form of vibes. Could be a mood or a genre or a favorite sports team of yours. They say they opted for a friendlier tiled layout, using images and text to organize and display the TV content, and then users can filter the listings to their favorite channels only or favorite genres to easily surf channels. And let's take a quick look at Buddy TV.
Let's just go into one of these called Top Teen TV Dramas. And under Top Teen TV Dramas, you can see all the shows that are listed in that vibe. Again, these are shows and movies that are in this vibe. And you can see all the ones that are available A through Z. You can see that on the left-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and tap on TV, and it'll show you what shows are on next on TV. And so you can see Psych is going to be on at 5 p.m. on channel 217. Then at 6 p.m. it's Psych, and at 7 p.m. it's Twisted. And then I can also tap on streaming here. And this streaming is really, really powerful because it takes into account all the streaming services that you have access to, like Netflix and Amazon and iTunes and Hulu. And so you can see that we can go in and see Beverly Hills 90210, tap on that, and you can see that it's free on Amazon, the next episode, and there's 10 seasons available. If you want, you can also go into the news and be able to see more content, and so I can go in and tap on photos and be able to tap through and see a variety of photos. And
yeah, I'm going to pause it there for time. All right, and that was on an iPad, right? Just being projected to that screen there. So, thoughts?
I like the vibe concept. I'm just hoping that there's some strong analytics on the back end of that that's driving it, so that vibes that aren't working get retired quickly.
Ah, okay. That's true. I think that the maintenance of these things long term. Of course, I was surprised to see Seventh Heaven still up there with teen shows. It's been a while.
Well, I guess that kind of lends itself, though, to content discovery a little bit in terms of how it's laid out, because as a younger viewer that you may not have watched Seventh Heaven back there, if this was teen, dramas or whatever the show category was, but it's the fact that it lends itself to saying, hey, there's a show back from the late 90s that you might actually like and enjoy because it's your type. So in some ways, even though you might not have found it, content discovery was pretty easy in the side of this app. I liked that layout.
I know, Chris, you want to bring up personalization and the importance to users, and get a good example here.
Yeah, I think it's really critical, and I think that the different techniques that can be deployed, like you say, there's vibes, which give you mood-based stuff, but there's all types of, you can do sorting where you can personalize based on the viewer's habits. There's collaborative filtering. We talked a lot about social today, so I think a lot of these UIs do a great job of providing different entry points into the UI where you could plug in different personalization techniques, because it is personalized. So one doesn't fit all. Moods might work for one person, but another type, collaborative filtering and social might work a lot better for another audience.
So someone here today told me that tiles were the future of user interface design, and I'm going to go ahead and disagree. I find that using lots of tiles of box art and the way this app has is visually confusing for the user. It's overwhelming. It's like looking at a grocery store shelf full of cereal boxes. It's hard to make a selection. It's hard to know where to focus. So I think there could be a lot more effort to put into creating an interface that would allow for easy discovery without so much visual cacophony of all the box art.
I'd agree with that a little bit. I think of the entries, probably from a pure visual design perspective, it was one of the most polished, and it was very nice in that respect. I agree that I think tiles can be a little bit overwhelming, and you kind of, the onus is thrown to you to make a decision rather than some optimization of helping you find the thing that you want. It's difficult to judge these things when you only spend a certain amount of time using it, and you kind of have to live with something for a little bit longer to know, learn the behavioural patterns around it. But I found I got a little bit confused and a little bit lost at times, and I think part of that is around some of the sections tend to default to what's on TV rather than maybe what's available on demand. And a lot of the time, the what's on TV stuff, there wasn't anything on TV. So sometimes you got into sections that felt a bit empty, and then you clicked another tab, and then it was full of content. So I think some of it feels like there's a lot going on, and maybe some thinking about how you might optimize that and try and simplify it in terms of the journeys for the user would be good.
So I felt the tiling was very Pinterest, and I felt that the whole thing was kind of more web-based than it was television. So it really didn't feel like TV to me. I thought the features were really good and really interesting, but I think the layout could be better.
All right, we got to move on. Next on the Interface Showcase wheel, Civolution, App the Movie. Is anyone here from Civolution or who worked on App the Movie? Okay, somewhere around, maybe having a drink already. All right. Okay, let's take a look at that. All right, so this is an app designed to use from the ground up with a movie. The movie is written with the app. You're getting second screen content on the app while sitting there in the movie theater. Let me show you just a quick clip of that.
Fusion of TV and film.
TV and film?
It's a merger of TV and film to some extent, or an app and film.
App, there we go. So this is from a demonstration here. It might be a little hard to see, but the screen on the left is the app. The movie is in the right. That's telling the user to sync. It's detecting in what cinema the user is sitting. And then while you're watching the scary movie, you'll start getting the same freaky messages as the actors on the screen, or additional scenes related to what is happening there on the screen. And there's not much sound with this. See, there you go, all sorts of creepy code flying by. And we've seen some things like this on the TV side or the webisode side, very short webisodes, but this is the first time that I've seen a movie do this from the ground up, written that way, and not the app bolted onto that. So thoughts from the judges?
I think we're going to see a lot more of this, but it's a genre of film or a genre of TV, and just having these second screen integrated right into the storytelling, I think it's a great thing. I mean, I've seen a lot of scripts written this way. I don't think Hollywood's really ready for it, but this was done in the Netherlands, so they're a little bit more progressive.
I love the concept of movie theater, collaborative, social, gaming. I think we've seen some ideas where it happens in the advertising or the previews before the movie, where there's competition amongst people. I'm a little less sold on the idea of having that happen during the movie, both from a distraction standpoint and the near-far issue is even bigger in a movie theater than it is at home in terms of diverting your attention back and forth. So I think that will require some very careful nuance to keep it fluid.
I'd just add, in a way, in a funny sort of way, I don't think this feels like a particularly new idea. In that, I think it was back in the 80s they did a documentary on the BBC where they had the TV talking to the radio. So you had to bring your radio into the living room, and they had a dialogue with each other about the difference between TV and radio. And it was brilliantly done. It was all about the telling of the story. And in a way, I think this is like a very simple idea that is really down to the quality of how good the story is and how it works across the two screens. And it's difficult from this to really know that without actually going through that experience and being in a cinema and living through it. So I think the idea is a good one. It's just quite a simple one, and it's all down to the execution and the storytelling, really.
Do you think this becomes like 3D, where maybe some things kind of do as a little niche, but it's not going to be widespread? John? Okay,
I think a content producer is going to make a decision like they would with 3D or Dolby sound. It's part of the audience experience that they want to create, and so this becomes part of it. And that's the reason why this excites me so much, because I think it's putting a new tool in the content creator, and I think actually it's the content creators that are going to drive the revolution for these kinds of applications.
I think it was a well-executed experiment, but whether or not this will have legs with the audience and really attract the audience interest remains to be seen. I think the jury's still out.
Yeah, I think what makes it interesting is precisely, I think, a continuation of that evolution that started in the 80s and at the BBC and probably even before and with some other experiments. But I think at the end of the day, the success of it really depends on the genre of content. I think if you have an immersive first screen experience, you probably are less likely to engage with the second screen. And I think the second thing that would be interesting to add on to this, if you can actually put in some interactivity into the app, so it becomes more of a non-linear storytelling or participatory experience. And I think that's probably what you would expect in the 21st century to technology to deliver.
And potentially even loyalty and fulfillment, and you do it and you get a popcorn coupon or things like that where there's... Love popcorn.
All right, let's hit the wheel. Who is next in the Interface Showcase? Accionista Showpal. I think was it Claire on the panel earlier, right? Okay, great. Thank you for coming all the way here. Let's take a look at... Yes, let's take a look at Showpal and what they did for TV there. There's a picture of the app, and we will go to a little video. This is a second screen companion app. They did a beta launch to a closed user group. Launched with TV3 in Ireland, so you can't see it here, sorry. Uses ACR technology. Each show has its own theme with an accent color. And on iOS and Android coming very soon. We've got a little video showing, or animation, showing the evolution of their design. There's no audio with this. Just read along. Like I designed that part. You can really see the focus on the design process here in their submission. Then a quick bit of video from their launch.
When X Factor is on, I can get all the extra info and up-to-the-minute gossip on the judges as well as the contestants, the good and the bad. All delivered to me as they appear on screen and all in one place. It's like it knows what you want before you do. I can be an armchair judge and interact with the show when I like a performance with the fun thumbs up, thumbs down feature, and see what other people think as well, keeping up with the X Factor conversation on Twitter, so we all can have our say.
All right, take a look here. They had one column for a social feed plugin, one for an interactive plugin, and then one for the timeline of contextual content curated by the producers themselves. So.
We've seen a lot of these second screen companion apps, and I think this one, to me, is very well executed. One thing I would note is that it sort of uses this metaphor that I think everyone's accustomed to, which is feeds, your news feed, and I think that metaphor is executed really well here, and I like how they sort of boil down the experience and make it very simple. It is, a difficult, distracting experience sometimes to use both screens at the same time. I think this is simple enough for the users and well done.
Yeah, one of the things I like about the interface is that they integrated the UI into the color of the picture or the color of the show itself. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of this around where they're actually analyzing the photograph, pulling a palette out of the photograph and then applying it to text blocks and things like that. And I think that if they're doing that here, they did it really well.
This reminds me a lot of our Dish Explorer app, which happens to also be in this list of things. But it made me feel like it was an extension of that. It could even be something where we would talk to these guys to integrate with them from a distributor standpoint. So as somebody who has another one on here, I felt like this one, we could add it together and make a really nice app.
Project Ultra. All right, this project was looking the farthest out in the future, I think. Some of these are being built for the TV of tomorrow, some of them for the TV of the day after that, some of them next Tuesday. This one is looking at, next year at least. All right, so the user experience studio team explored the impact of Ultra HD 4K TV on consumers. Much higher resolution, all those extra pixels to play with. So what are you going to do with those? So they found a way to zoom into your favorite content and completely change the navigation. Go to that video. There's no audio with this one.
Obviously, this isn't 4K.
Hey, if I had $40,000 for a TV set,
hey,
to buy on Amazon, let me flip through a little bit of this so you can get a taste of the different screens they have in here. So you've got all these programs boil down to this visual interface in different ways. You can see that there's alphabetically, there's another one by time and what's on right now. Different ways to drill down. So they're really looking at it because we know this is going to happen with these TV sets. Just the question is when, and when I'm going to get $40,000 for a TV, or maybe it'll come down to a price that mere mortals can afford. But I mean, what is this going to do to people? We see the change in technology, just like the explosion of tablets driving things. What will happen when everyone has a 4K TV? Thoughts on Ultra?
So the good news for US is that a Chinese company actually has a $1,500 retail price 4K TV in the market.
Great.
And even Sony's down to like 3,500. So
only 3,500.
In terms of this this interface, I think it's interesting and artistic, but from a practicality standpoint, now part of this undoubtedly is seeing 4K content on a 1024 by 768 screen. But it's not clear to me that this would actually be an effective way to browse. You know, just seeing the snapshots, I'm not sure that's enough.
Yeah, I think it points to the very interesting question. The price drops to 4K, but what are we going to do with 4K? So I think we have the higher fidelity, we have crisp images, so we can put a video wall on it and make it legible. But the question is it something that's actually useful for the user? So I feel it's a bit overwhelming. There's a bit too many tiles up there. And I think it's really hard to focus on what actually I should be focusing on as a user in terms of a discovery mechanism.
Yeah, the concept I do like in here, though, is that it feels that the navigation is much more of an entertainment experience itself. So I think obviously by having more real estate, you have more to work with and stuff. But you know, as we're getting more and more content, navigation has to move away from being a chore and being more entertaining and more integrated. So as you're watching the shows, you can take advantage of the extra real estate to be looking at other related content or future viewing. So I think they do a good job of that and kind of taking advantage of the almost 3D effect of 4K as well.
Okay, I'm going to have to keep it moving, so let's go on to the next one. Cinecraft Videogram. Oh, I forgot to ask if anyone was here from the last one, from Ultra. Okay. Cinecraft Videograms. Anyone here from Cinecraft Videogram? Hey, there you go. Thank you very much for being here. Let's take a look at that. So there's a still shot. So they convert video into an immersive pictorial summary, giving a user multiple entry points, enables users immersive discovery to share clips and comment on videos, and creates visual summaries of any video on any connected TVs. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so this is one on their website I thought I'd pull up here. My wife may be watching this live stream. You think she'll believe I pulled up the Victoria's Secret runway hair one so I could get hair tips? I'll try. So very visual navigation here. Thoughts on videogram? Would you send a videogram?
I got a little lost in this user interface because of how much I mean, back to the 4K piece, I mean, it was somewhat similar where there's so many things on the screen to go inside of there. I felt a little overwhelmed with the content that was inside there, so I kind of got a little lost.
Any thoughts?
Well, I think the general overall concept is very strong, and yes, I would send a videogram. I do agree that there needs to be some effort paid to you know, paying attention to bringing focus to a certain part of the screen so the user knows where to start.
As designers come up with these ideas and put them out there, I mean, there's always a burden or a hurdle that you put up every time you're asking people to do more things. I mean, how do you balance that hurdle of, yeah, I can do these really cool features, but it's going to require the user to do more too?
You say no.
Okay. It's also part of trying to reach, you know, that mass audience.
No, but I think more seriously, you show what it looks like with all that stuff on it versus a simple solution, and usually it's self-evident which one is a more compelling one for the user.
All right, let's spin again. Jenny, my TV movie guide. We're the Jenny folks. I think they were here earlier. There we go. Sorry, I'm blinded by the light there. Let's take a look at Jenny. All right, Jenny here. So an iOS app with search and discovery tools explored by descriptive genes. That's genes, right? They've got this new feature called Taste Channels, and you can do taste testing against your friends and check their social recommendations and see how they compare against yours and decide if you want to add their input to things that you're going to watch. Semantic discovery, they have entertainment personalities to describe a user's unique tastes, and a live personalized TV guide for what's on now. All right. Thoughts on Jenny?
I think my overall feeling with this was that it was probably about 10 products in one. It felt a bit like a kind of Swiss Army knife with all the blades out. You're like, I don't really know where to start with it. I think it's got some really, really strong ideas in it and nice things that it's exploring, but in terms of navigational paradigms, it's probably got a different one in each section. So you feel like you keep having to relearn what you're doing, and you don't really ever feel like you've got used to interacting with it. So I think that's where I found it a little bit difficult. But each section in itself had some really interesting stuff in it, but I think it was just trying to do too many things in too many different ways.
Well, it's kind of hard to separate the aesthetics from the actual value proposition of the product, and I think the value proposition of this product is extremely strong, which is sort of like the Music Genome Project. This is like a TV genome project to start to identify, commonalities between kinds of content and what might attract a user to a lot of content. So I think it really has strong promise for discovery, but again, separating the user experience design and aesthetics from the product proposition is a different thing.
Yeah, and it's probably also an example of something that's well suited to a personal device, because some of the insights around why content is being recommended are better on an individual device than on the big screen. I might like to watch weepy romantic comedy, but I don't necessarily want everybody in the room to know that. And so that's where, there's a lot of things that have shown in the field that there's different types of experiences people want depending on whether it's a shared versus a private experience.
Mm-hmm. So maybe you have those videos you want everybody to think you're watching and the ones you're really watching.
That's exactly right, okay. Yes. Well, like somebody was joking earlier today, we'd all watch PBS if that was what we said we really watched.
Yeah. The taste tester part, I wonder if that could be a dating app, though, also a new revenue stream for them. All right, Digit Next Guide. Where's Digit? There we go, behind the column there. Just in time. There's just waving us. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at Digit. So another guide app, so a TV discovery platform. Track your favorite shows and watch lists, viewing reminders. You can see what your friends are watching and what's new. It's got what should be responsive design in the web guide and a deep filtering of content. And we've got a little clip. Just find the right window here.
Next Guide is your personal TV program guide with support for live TV, Netflix, and iTunes, designed to help you figure out, what should I watch next? Next Guide has your favorite channels, TV shows, movies, actors, genres, and categories, all available at your fingertip. Easily browse recommendations, set your favorite channels, choose a TV show or movie, and watch it instantly. Or set a reminder if it's playing on live TV. It's a Sherpa for your TV shows. Next Guide is hyper-personalized. It finds you shows that air in your hometown, when your favorite sports teams are on, or programs featuring your favorite actors. Discover content you'll love that you didn't even know was on TV. Next Guide is also social. Ever try to remember that one show your buddy told you about the other day? You know, the one with what's-her-name from that other show? Next Guide connects with Facebook and automatically sorts your friends' favorite shows and movies. Next Guide, the first hyper-personalized TV program guide with live TV and online listings designed entirely for the iPad.
All right, thoughts on Next Guide? What distinguishes it from other guide apps?
I think it visually very pleasing, maybe a little bit not quite overwhelming, but a lot of information presented there, which maybe a bit more curation would help, a way to reduce the number of things seen on screen at once, perhaps. But in general, it looks like an attractive app that would be useful.
I think also I agree. I think it's well presented and it looks nice and easy to use. I think one thing that it does feel is a little bit like a machine. And I think the one thing that the TV schedule and TV guides are is a kind of encapsulation of human scheduling and human curation. So when you take all that and put it into something that feels like it's purely a machine, I think it loses something a little bit. And while the recommendations may be very good, it might be worth thinking about trying to make that feel a little bit less automated, which sounds odd, but that kind of, to me, is what TV schedules are all about. So.
Yeah, and they did bring an interesting point on the product dimensions and regionality and stuff, because a key part of making effective navigation is that you're recognizing where that person is, what shows they have access to, what OTT subscriptions they have, because the very frustrating to recommend content that you can't get to, or where you say categories get narrowed so far because you don't have much content that you can access in a given case. So I think they bring up an interesting point about where you live and some problems that are tricky to solve.
Okay, let's pause there. Just have a few minutes more for the next two. Let's see who will be next. All right, Netflix. This is one that certainly got a lot of press, probably most press. If you don't like it, you don't have to throw the microphone.
I feel like this might be rigged.